Wait. Don't you get your clicker off of the dislike button. It's not what you think it is. It's not. I know you just clicked on it because you were like, oh fuck this bitch, I'm gonna go tell her off. I already know. So like before you do, just chill and let me explain, guys. Let me explain. At the end of my first semester of freshman year at the University of Florida, when I was 18, I became a stripper. I didn't like mean to be a stripper. I wasn't like actively thinking like I'm gonna be a stripper. Like I didn't like know strippers or anything like that. The closest I'd done to anything similar was I took some pole dancing classes at the University of Florida. Because it looked cool, and being able to pole dance doesn't make you a stripper. Get over it. I basically was dating this much older man at the time, but I actually like I guess he was a sugar daddy, but at the time I like thought much more of him. Like I thought like age gaps weren't a big deal and all this stuff, which is why now if you ask me how I feel about relationships between like super old guys and super young girls, I'm gonna tell you like they just don't work. The only way they work is in the sugar daddy capacity. They don't work as like an equal give and take thing. It just doesn't happen. But anyway, I thought I was in like an actual relationship with this dude, but he was like very insecure because he had this like, you know, cute 18-year-old. Sorry to toot my own horn. And he was like 50. I know. And he just was like very jealous and insecure. On top of that, I went to school like 3 hours away from him, and I would drive down to see him on like the weekends and stuff. And when I would drive down, he would just like accuse me of like cheating on him and all this stuff while I was at school, which I like wasn't doing. I was literally taking like a bunch of advanced classes. Like I was just so happy to be at college and not be like worrying about paying the rent. Like I was like beyond ecstatic. I thought he was like the best thing ever at the time. But he just got worse and worse, and very just, I guess over time, a bit verbally abusive and stuff like that. That's a whole other story. But long story short, what ended up happening is he started accusing me of like only being with him for his money and stuff like that, which at the time I wasn't. At the time, like the money was super great obviously, but I really looked at it like a real relationship. It was a dumb 18-year-old thing, but I really thought it could like work. And out of nowhere he started saying like, you should start making your own money, that way I know you're actually with me for me and not like because of money or something. And I mean, let me just say, I guess I get where this guy was coming from to an extent, because like we did meet on a sugar daddy site, so but like it turned into something much different, right? And he kind of like pushed this for a while, like you should make your own money. I was like, well, if I get a job at UF, I can get a job, I can go work at Subway or something, but I'm not going to be able to drive down on the weekends. I'm not going to have control over my schedule, you know? I'd have to be stuck there. And so he didn't like that. So then he's like, well, get a job here. And then I was like, then I'll have to miss classes at UF. Like, how is this going to work? And then he was like, you should be a titty dancer. And I was like, what the, why would I do that? And he's just like, you have such a great personality. You'd be perfect for titty dancing. And at the time, like, I was like not like about getting naked in front of a bunch of strangers. Like that sounded like completely crazy to me. I was like, why would I do something like that? Like they won't even like me. I'm not even like that hot. I don't look like those girls in strip clubs. Like, come on now. And on top of that, I was like, well, I didn't think that this was gonna be a thing. Like we had this relationship and it like started with this understood thing that like I don't have to go work so that I could focus on school, which is what I thought he wanted for me, which is partially why I was so attached to him. And then this shit starts happening, and at the same time he gets very like he just starts being very shitty to me and stuff like that. Instead of recognizing that he just was kind of like an abusive, like narcissistic type, again, I don't know why I did so many of these, like just I know, but instead of just like recognizing that, my 18-year-old self was like, this is my fault. I understand why he feels this way and why he would think that I just want him for his money, and I really do feel really strongly for him and like want to be with him. So yeah, you know what, it probably is the right thing for me to just go try to be a stripper, and maybe it'll make him happy, and then we won't have these relationship problems. Please, if you're an 18-year-old girl, learn from my mistakes. So what ends up happening is he takes me to this like strip club pretty close to us that literally, I shit you not, has like truck parking spots. Like it's a strip club where like truckers go. Nothing against truckers, but like in the land of strip clubs, generally speaking, strip clubs where there's trucker parking spots tend to have more like gross shit going on. Just a lot seedier, drug addicted girls, like stuff like that. So he thought it was a great idea to bring my 18-year-old self to this like Truckstop strip club. And before that I had gone and gotten some like, I guess, basic stripper wear from like some like hoe store. And this club was like a bikini kind of club, but I was like, oh, I don't feel comfortable like wearing like a bikini in front of everybody. Like I'm not that fit, like I have like little teeny titties. I had no titties. Like this is not gonna play out well, right? But I go there anyway, and I auditioned for the Truckstop strip club manager. Gotta tell you guys, there's nothing quite as demoralizing as having gotten into one of the top universities in the country and then going and auditioning for the manager of a Truckstop strip club. Yeah, that's where I was at that moment. But anyway, Truckstop manager guy liked me. And he's like, okay, you can start tonight. And I was like really shocked. I was like, I don't even think they're gonna hire me. I don't look like stripper material, you guys. But what ends up happening that night, I was literally walking around in like one of those like teddies. Like I just had like it was like a dress because I didn't want to show myself. Like I was so nervous. I was like, oh my god, like I was like trying to cover myself even though I'm a fucking stripper in this club. I'm like walking around and I do some sort of like terrible stage dance. Like the first time I went up there, it was just like really jerky and like all over the place. Like I don't know if any of you have ever been to a strip club and like watched a girl and been like, what the fuck is she doing? I was that at first. What ended up happening is something really interesting happened this night. There was some normal gentleman dude in there, and he instantly like gravitated towards me, and I started talking to him, and I was like, oh, I just go to school and I thought I'd try this out because I don't really have the schedule to be able to get like a different job. And he's like, so this is your first time, huh? Oh, okay. And you're how old? You're 18. Oh, okay. Anyway, long story short, this guy ends up taking me to the like VIP, which at this club thankfully was actually like hands off, so he couldn't like touch me, which was a good initiation for me because I think I probably would have gotten really freaked out if I was getting like super groped at the moment. But he's just like really enamored and just, you know, getting all these like dances from me, but he's just asking me about myself, and we're talking about, I don't remember obviously, but all kinds of stuff, probably like, you know, business and whatever, what I wanted to do, why I was going to college, all this stuff. He really liked me. And on top of that, he just like was like, you have such a beautiful body, I really like how your boobs look, like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, really? You think I have a nice butt? Really? Oh. Anyway, long story short, I ended up making $450 that night in the span of about 4 hours. Which, to my 18-year-old self at that time, yeah, I'd had this like sugar daddy, but he didn't hand me much more than like a couple $100 at a time here and there for like groceries or something when I went back to school. So it wasn't like I was like rolling in it or anything. But I had this like crazy like epiphany. I was like, wait, this one dude I'm with, yeah, he pays my bills, which aren't that much, but he pays them. But then he also treats me like shit and then like tells me to go be a stripper to reassure him that I want to be with him. And then he's like mean to me all the time. But like I just came in here and talked to this like really super nice gentleman dude who was totally respectful, and I made $450. I was like, I think I might rather prefer being independent, and then maybe I could just go date guys my own age who don't give me so much shit. And I wasn't even bad at it because honestly, and this became the general theme of the entire experience of my being a stripper, I made the most money just fucking running my damn mouth. Like, to be honest with you, like I just talked. I hung out and I talked and I learned and I asked questions and I kept people kind of just interested in the companionship aspect. Not to say like, you know, other stuff, not to say I didn't give good dances and all that stuff down the line, whatever, but like ultimately most of the success I had as a stripper just came from just being real. So this leads me finally to the title of this video, why every girl should be a stripper. I don't actually mean every girl should be a stripper. In fact, if you have lots of other options, I do say just go get a job, like stay away from the strip clubs, like whatever. But I did learn some really valuable lessons in the strip club that I don't think a lot of girls learn, that really helped me get a lot wiser, a lot quicker, and a lot more confident than I otherwise would have been. See, because stripping will teach girls one very important thing, and I'm just gonna teach it to you here, girls, so that you don't go be a stripper, because it can be a slippery slope and I would not recommend it overall for most girls. The thing I learned though was like I was amazed. I was amazed at like at how forgiving men are to women and how we look. Because women, I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves, and we like want to look so hot all the time, and we think men want these like girls on Instagram with these perfect bodies and all this stuff. And yeah, they do to some extent, and there are those guys, especially in LA, who are just super superficial and like break every girl down into like numbers and measurements and all this stuff. But they are honestly like the minority. Can I just tell you, like, you would be like amazed at what they think is attractive. I have like literally had guys just kind of like holding on to like the sides of like my tummy, which I've never had like a really super tight stomach. Like, it's flat, but it's like you can like grab onto it, you know? And like most girls, I hate it, right? But like not enough to stop eating ice cream. But I literally sometimes would like sit in a dude's lap, and he just would kind of squeeze onto me there, and I'd be like, oh my god, why are you squeezing? And I kind of flinch, and he'd be like, you're so sexy, like you're so amazing, like I can't, you have the most amazing body, like this kind of stuff. And they weren't all just like 60-year-old men or something. Like, plenty of them were just normal guys. Most of them, in fact. Even back then, I had these boobs like I really didn't like. They were like kind of small and perky and like pointy, and I had like pointy instead of like rounded boobs, and they were like, oh, they were like my biggest insecurity at the time, other than my nose. But I can't tell you, like, every time I ever mentioned this to a dude in a strip club or something like that, literally every time, they would just be like, you really don't need them. You have beautiful breasts, like, please don't get them. Like, so many girls are getting them now. Like, it's so much nicer when you just have like nice real boobs. They say this all the time, and I just be like, yeah, whatever, you're full of shit, you know, I got fake tits anyway. Which now I wish I hadn't, but that was myself then. Even like, because back then I had like a much bigger nose, and it had like a bump in it, and I hated it. And there'd still be tons of dudes in the club who I'd be like, ah, thank you, but I just like don't really like my nose or something. And they'd just be like, you have like a noble nose, like you have one of those noses that like you look like you belong in Victorian England, like it's beautiful. I'm just like, you wouldn't believe the kind of stuff that like men like. And I mean, I know maybe some people leave comments on this video and be like, oh, they're just trying to get in your pants or something, but like across the board. And it wasn't just me. If you go into a strip club, like for the most part, like the girls are all different shapes and sizes, like different curves, different weights, different heights, different boobs, everything. And like, for the most part, they all make money. In fact, the biggest reason a girl is not gonna make money in a strip club has really nothing to do with her body, and everything to do with her attitude and how boring she is or not. I feel like more girls could just stand to understand this about men, that they think you're hot. Like they do. Like even if you're not a 10 or something, like they think you're hot. I mean, obviously I'm not speaking about people who are like unhealthily overweight or something like that, but like even girls are just like, if you're just like a little chubby or something, like they think you're hot. So basically, let me just like sum all that up. When girls look at themselves in the mirror, they just see everything they want to change. Things that aren't symmetrical, things that don't like curve the right way or something. When guys look at a girl, they're only looking at the stuff they like. They literally look at girls and like try to find reasons to want to fuck them. Like even ones that are like not that great looking or something, they'll look at it and be like, she's still cute. I think if you bent it over, oh, I would really like it like that. Or even if she's got like a little extra, guys are just like, that's just like a little bit more. I can handle it. Like I could hold on to that, you know? And I'm not speaking for those of you who are gonna come on here and be like, I only fuck 9s and 10s and I don't fuck with anything less, and I have way higher standards. Fine, go try after those. But I'm telling you, in my experience of meeting and talking to and hanging out with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of fucking men, the vast majority of them they just like women. That's not a good reason to go be a stripper, but it's a good lesson I learned from stripping. That once I knew that, I didn't worry about guys. I didn't really worry about if I look cute or not, or if I like was super done up, or I just didn't get stuck on a lot of stuff I think a lot of girls get stuck on when they talk to a guy. Or even if they see like a really, really hot guy, they don't know how to like talk to him because they just assume he would only want like a really, really hot girl. It's just not the case. And even when I just, you know, had a lot of insecurities and stuff I didn't like about myself, back then, I wasn't afraid to like talk to the hottest guy in the room or something like that. I like wasn't nervous because I could just think to myself, and this actually kind of applies to men too, so maybe you could kind of take your 2 cents from this. I would just think that like, okay, well, even if this guy doesn't like me or he doesn't think I'm hot or something, okay, there's like 500 other ones that do. Anyway guys, that's all I have for today. I obviously learned a lot more than just that in strip clubs, and I have lots and lots of stories. So if you want to hear more stories and wisdom from an ex-stripper, let me know in the comments and leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you for listening to my motherfucking face one more time.